Okay, hopefully by now you're stationed on your mat, either on the tables or on the floor, and we're about to do some work for our hips. And it's really important that we get the hips to be an optimal hip, because hip problems create a lot of issues for us in our low back, our knees, and our ankles. So we're going to take care of those hips to take care of these problems. I hope you've got your pillow ready for you in case you want to use it. And we're going to be on our side. It doesn't matter which side, but you can recline on your side, get that head comfy on your pillow. Oh, that's great. You know, I don't always use a pillow. I don't always have one available. But if you don't want to use the pillow, you can always prop your head up, which is what I typically do when I'm there in class with you so I can spy on everybody. But hey, it turns out I can't actually see you through the camera. Ooh, too bad. And so instead, I'm going to use a pillow today. Oh, hey. So we get our head and our neck and our shoulders very comfortable. But here's the thing. I don't want to be leaning backward, and I don't want to be leaning forward either. I just want to have my shoulder over my shoulder, my hip over my hip. And to help that, I've got the legs forward, comfortably forward. Now, the lower leg stays bent, but we're going to make the upper leg go straight. I'm going to line it up with the spine, so the leg is straight in line with the spine. Reach through the leg, side of the waist nice and long, and we're going to take that leg slowly up to about the height of our shoulder, and then slowly all the way back down. Now, we could lift it higher, but we're not going to, because we just want to keep the action in the hip, and we want to keep the side of the waist long. If you feel the side of the waist shortening, do your best to reach through. Maybe don't lift the leg up quite as high. And a lot of people ask me, should I be pointing my toe? Well, try it. If you point your toe, you're going to feel a certain sensation, and that's okay. But if you reach through the heel, you get the back of the leg a little more active, and that's okay too. But you could also do this with the foot just sort of hanging out limp, and that would be okay as well. So any of those positions, up and down, nice and slow. Excellent. And you feel the fatigue. Now, if the sensation is happening in the hip or down the leg or past the knee, good job. If you're feeling something that's climbing up into the waist or the low back, well, that's a little bit of a concern. Maybe you're lifting the leg too high, or maybe the pelvis is coming in too much. So try to work so that you're not feeling it in the waist or the back. Oh, but the fatigue is there. Okay, now we're going to take the leg and bring it forward. It's lined up with the lower leg, resting. And we're going to lean our shoulder back into a stretch. Now, you can put your arm near your head, out to the side of the chest, or bring it close to the hip. All of that 180-degree space is yours to work through. Where does it feel the best? And then experiment. Do you like to straighten the elbow more, or would you prefer to bend it? Find out what feels better, what gives you the best stretch. You can pull your chest toward the floor to experience more stretch, or you can lift it toward the ceiling to experience less. Adjust so that it fits you perfectly. You're like the tailor of your stretch. You don't want it to be too tight, but you don't want it to be too loose. A stretch that's becoming more uncomfortable is a stretch that your body is fighting itself. You're not going to get as much out of that stretch. So make it comfortable, breathe deeply. That's well done. Let's come upright, shoulder over shoulder again. Hey, the leg's in the forward position. We're going to start to lift it up and down. And oh my gosh, what happened? The leg is heavier. It's actually been the same heaviness, but it feels heavier now because the abdominal and back muscles don't help us anymore. And the leg is heavy. We've got the biggest bone in the body, the femur bone right here. Biggest muscles in the body. So each one of our legs is approximately 1/4 of our body weight. So that hip is getting tired. And that's lactic acid building up. There's nothing wrong, but it is pretty annoying. Okay, good. Now, let's bend the knee. Knee over knee, ankle over ankle. For this, we're going to pull the belly firm and tight. Hold it firm and slowly take that knee, bring it a little bit toward the chest, and then slowly sweep that leg a little bit back. Belly firm and tight. Slowly back and forth toward the chest and back. Now, you're going to be using the muscles like you would if you're climbing a huge staircase. Back of the leg, seat muscle working, the front of the hip flexors working, but you won't notice that. All you're going to be thinking about is the flames that are coming out of your hip right here. Lactic acid building up. Whoa, well, let's stop that. Knees together, ankles together. Okay, now, belly firm and tight, pelvis still. Let's rotate both our hips, and when we do, those feet come up a little bit. We're going to twirl our toes one way, twirl our toes the other way, let the legs come down. But here's the thing. We don't want to bring the pelvis forward. We keep it still. We rotate and the upper leg rotates in and the lower leg rotates out. And that's a great workout, a little bit of a tug-of-war effect for the back of the pelvis, the sacroiliac joint. It's a real nice way for us to balance the structure of our pelvis. And get a little fancy footwork going too. Good. Now the edges of the feet are touching, the belly's firm and tight. We're going to lift the upper knee away from the lower knee. It's called a clamshell. I'll let that come down. But we make sure the pelvis stays still. If it rolls backward, we're using our back. That's one of the problems. Our back keeps substituting itself for the hip. We got to tough love this hip and make it do its work. So don't worry about how high your knee lifts up. Just worry about the way that you're lifting. You're keeping everything set. When you get stronger in the muscles that control this, your flexibility will increase. Well, that's well done. Now, knees together, belly tight. Rotate just the upper hip. Only that foot's going to lift. And then we're going to twirl our toes one way, twirl the toes the other way, and bring the leg down. So we go back and forth to that. Now, not everyone's going to be able to rotate their hip inward very far. We're all genetically different. And you know, sometimes what we did in our early life, when we were a gymnast or a ballet dancer, we're going to have greater flexibility. But remember, it's what you do now, what you've been doing lately that has a lot to do with what's going on in your hips, so you can improve. Oh, good job. Okay, take the leg forward now. Let it come into a stretch position. So it's out of the way of the lower leg, nicely stretched. Now your lower hip will rotate. Oh, we're going to twirl the toes one way, twirl it the other way, let it come down. And that's an outward hip rotation, using those muscles that are found deep in the pelvis. And so if we've had any injury involving the pelvic structure, we may be a little compromised here, but you know what? A lot of us are pretty strong through this area, so you might not feel as much fatigue there. Now, let's straighten out that bottom leg, line it up with the spine, straighten the knee, and turn the inside of the thigh upward. And slowly we're going to lift that leg up, or at least do our best to, and let it come down. Now, working that inner thigh, sometimes at first we can't lift the leg, or we can't lift it very high. And that's okay. Don't create any discomfort. But as you get stronger, your inner thigh is going to strengthen and your low back will get more support from that. But also, as the leg comes up, it's stretching the outside of the thigh. And that pulls on that tight band of tissue that goes all the way to the kneecap. So we're going to stretch and take pressure off that kneecap. Good for the knee. Oh, that's nicely done. Now we're halfway through what I call the hip tonic, working the hip muscles in every direction they can go. We're going to switch to side 2, but that means you're going to take your head and put it on the other end, because I don't want you facing a boring wall. So let's switch sides now. Okay, so now we're switched sides. We've got ourselves with the head on the other end of the mat. If you're facing a blank wall, can't see the screen, that's not going to help you as much. So turn so that you can see what's going on. Get that head, that neck, that shoulder comfortable, shoulder over shoulder, hip over hip, legs bent forward again. We're not leaning forward or back, comfortably on side 2. And the lower leg stays bent, that upper leg goes straight. And we stretch the side of the waist nice and long. And working very slowly, we bring the leg up to about the height of the shoulder, and we bring the leg all the way down onto the mat, and slowly up and down. Now, as we're creating the action, side 2 is different than side 1, and it always has been. It might be associated with the injury that you're experiencing, but you know what? We use our body differently. If we've got 2 of something, we use one more than the other. So we're right or left-handed, but we're also right or left leg. We use one leg more than the other naturally. Not always the right-handed person is a right leg person. So up and down, nice and slow we go. This side might fatigue out more quickly, and lactic acid, as I said, very annoying, but it's actually beneficial to us. Good. Let's take the leg now, and we're going to bring it forward. We're going to line it up with the lower leg, and we're going to go into our stretch. We're going to lean our shoulder gently back. Now you can have your arm near the head, out to the side, near the hip. Where do you want that arm to be? Comfortably positioned. If you want to straighten the elbow, your stretch gets stronger. If you want to bend the elbow, the stretch reduces. If you pull your chest back toward the floor more, your stretch increases. If you lift the chest up, it reduces. So find the position that's the most comfortable for you. Be the perfect tailor of your stretch, not too tight, not too loose, very gentle, breathing deeply. The best stretch is that which gradually reduces as you hold it. That's the perfect stretch. And that's well done. We're going to come upright, shoulder over shoulder, legs in that forward position, and we start to lift and lower it, and there's that heavy leg again. So I told you lactic acid beneficial. Well, why is that if it feels so strange and burning? Well, the reality is we create this sensation, we're stimulating the brain, and the part of the brain that releases growth hormone is going to be stimulated. So tonight when we sleep, we're going to get a little more release of growth hormone. And past the age when we're finished growing, growth hormone is used as a rejuvenative thing for the body. It's going to reduce inflammation. It's going to speed healing. It's going to help us get stronger. It's a positive thing, but oh, we're paying for it right now. Okay, let's bend the knee. Knee over knee, ankle over ankle. Pull the belly firm and tight. Now we want our back to stay still, and we're going to take our knee toward the chest. You decide how far, and then take the knee slowly back, belly tight. You decide how far back. We want our back to stay as still as we can as we go forward and back, like climbing a huge staircase. And as I said, we're working the front of the hip flexor. We're working the back of the hip, the seat muscle, but we're also working the side of the hip. That's where the flames are coming in right now. It's pretty strong. We won't be able to do too many of these. All right, well done. Now, rest the knees on the knees, ankles on the ankles. Pull the belly firm and tight. Keep your pelvis completely still. Rotate both your hips. The feet come up. We twirl our toes one way. Twirl them the other way. Relax the legs down. So both hips rotating. The upper hip is rotating in and the lower hip is rotating out. That's what gives us that tug-of-war effect in the back of the pelvis. So it's an interesting action that we can create here on our side. There's not much in life we do that makes us create this action. Good job. Okay, now edges of the feet together, belly firm and tight. Here comes our clamshell. We're going to lift the upper knee away from the lower knee and let it come back down. But I'm watching out for the pelvis. I don't want my pelvis to pull backward. I keep it where my knee lifts only as high as I can without the pelvis moving back. And this is really important to activate these hip muscles to create this particular effect. Well done. Okay, now the knees touch together, the belly's firm and tight. Let's rotate just the upper hip. We're going to twirl the toes one way, twirl the toes the other way, and let the leg relax down. So there's that inward hip rotation. And we're all a little different in how much rotation we have, but we don't have to compare ourselves to each other. We just create our comfortable action. By the way, if you've noticed, you're probably in control of one of those ankles a little better than the other. So we're not only right or left-handed, we're right or left-footed. All right, good. Let's take the leg forward. Let it come down. Let it stretch. Comfortable stretch. Lower leg's our target. It's free to move now. We rotate it and we twirl our toes one way. Twirl our toes the other way. Let the leg come down. So now we're turning that hip out. Muscles deep inside our pelvis. Often we're very strong in these muscles. One of the ways the body prefers to turn the hip. But if we've had an injury to this area, to the pelvis, we might not be so strong. Good. Okay. Now please straighten that bottom leg. You want to straighten it so that the knee is completely straight. The inner thigh is turned up. And keeping the leg straight, you're going to lift that leg slowly up, or at least that's the work you try and do. You let it come down. Not everybody can lift the leg completely. The stronger we get, the more flexible we'll get, the more we'll be able to lift. And that strong inner thigh is going to give a lot of support to the low back. And as we lift the leg higher, we're going to stretch the outer band, the fibrous band known as the IT band that goes down and has an effect on the knee. So we're doing a lot of good work for both the low back, the hip, and the knee area. Oh, and that is so well done. Excellent. Okay, we're done with our hip tonic, and now we're going to come onto our back. So please, if you'll roll onto your back, place your feet on the floor, feet about hip distance wide. You can have your pillow behind you or let your head rest all the way flat if you prefer, whatever's the most comfortable for you. Now, from this position, let's go ahead and we'll create some other stretches. We're going to bring our right knee in toward our chest. We're going to pull it in comfortably close, letting the back flatten, being comfortable, breathing deeply. So a comfortable position. And then we let that leg come down. And the other side, we're going to bring that knee in, hold it in comfortably close, breathing deeply. Letting that back stretch. And we'll let the leg come down. First side again, we pull the knee in, comfortably close, and then we're going to stretch that left leg out. We're going to reach the left leg away. We're going to try and bring the back of the left knee as close to the floor as we comfortably can. That's going to help us open up the front of the hip as we stretch that leg, breathing deeply. That's good. We put our right foot down. We're going to bring our left knee into the chest. We're going to pull it in comfortably close. And we're going to straighten that right leg, stretch it out, try and reach the ankle away, bring the back of the right knee comfortably close to the floor, breathing deeply, comfortable stretch in the front of the thigh. And that's good. We place the left foot down. We're going to bring the right knee back into the chest, pull it in comfortably close, and we're going to cross the right ankle over the knee. We take the arms out to the side, we push down the shoulders, and we stretch that right knee away from our body. Now you want to make sure the pelvis remains level. We don't get the left or the right side closer, one side versus the other. We're breathing deeply. And we should feel that stretch in our hip. And then we pull the right knee in toward the chest. We put the foot down. We're going to bring the left knee in, pull it in close to the chest, letting the back flatten. We're going to cross the left ankle over the right knee, take the arms out to the side, slowly move that left knee away from our chest into our stretch. We feel the stretch in the hip region. Comfortable. We make sure the pelvis doesn't tilt. The sides of the waist are equally long, comfortably stretching, breathing deeply. And that's good. We bring the knee back toward our chest and we place the feet down. Now have the feet a little wider than your hips. Arms out to the side. You can walk the shoulders away from the head to release the neck even more. And then begin to tilt the knees very slowly, tilting them toward the left, causing the right side of the pelvis to lift slightly. Now, your legs don't have to tilt. They can come down as far as you want, or they can be upright wherever you want them to be, just a comfortable tilt. And then we take the legs up and we tilt them toward the right, and when we do, the left side of the pelvis will lift slightly. Again, you can let the knees come down or you can keep them up. Stay in your comfort zone as you're tilting back and forth slowly. This is designed to create a very mild twist in the spine and to help open up the front of the hip. But if it doesn't feel comfortable, of course, I want you to do only the things that are comfortable for you. And so we go slowly back and forth, back and forth. Good. This brings us to the point where we're going to go into a relaxation. Now you may be already in your most comfortably relaxed position with your knees bent, or you may want to stretch your legs out straight. Some people prefer not to be on their back. They want to roll onto the side, and that's fine if you want to be on your side for your relaxation. Some people are not comfortable until they roll onto their stomach, and that would be fine too if you want to be on your stomach. So let you choose your comfortable position now, and we'll start our relaxation. As we begin the relaxation, you found that comfortable position to rest in, be it on your back, on your side, on your stomach, with your pillows. You're comfortable. On the screen, there's just going to be some very relaxing images playing, so you don't have to watch the screen. Just listen to my voice. The good news is, if you fall asleep in relaxation, you're doing advanced relaxation. And if you don't fall asleep in relaxation, well, good news, you're doing relaxation. It's all good. So you found that comfortable position that has taken the stress off of your joints and off of your muscles. Let your eyes close, and the moment you do, your brain waves begin to relax. You start to enter that first stage of relaxation and meditation. Let your breathing be deep. Inhale and expand your abdomen like an inflating balloon. Normally we breathe just into our upper back, into our collarbones. You want to breathe deep. Take that breath into the belly. Expand the abdomen, the sides of the chest, all the way to the shoulder blades, and then into the collarbone area. And then as you exhale, do so very slowly. When we breathe deeply, especially deep breath into our belly, we create a signal into our brain telling it that we want to relax. And the brain gives us a signal back into the body, telling the body to relax. So deep breath helps us relax. Eyes closed helps us relax. And this comfortable resting position helps our body relax the joints and the muscles. Already we're doing 3 things that help us relax more. But we're going to go further into our relaxation by focusing our mind. Now normally we're aware of our senses only lightly. Our senses, what we hear, feel, see, taste, and smell. We're usually too busy thinking about the future or remembering the past, anticipating what's going to happen or remembering what has happened, to pay much attention to what is happening right now. So we filter our senses. We pay attention to only a small portion of what our senses actually bring to us. And right now, we're going to listen a little differently. We're going to hear what we've been really hearing. And I know you hear the sound of my voice, but I am not the only sound. You can hear the sound of the air conditioner flowing through the vents. And you can also hear the tick of the clock on the wall. And there's a sound of breathing and movement in the room. But outside the room, you're going to hear other sounds. Maybe the voices of other people or the radio playing. People will walk up and down the halls. They'll open and close doors. Someone might go into the restroom and run the water. If it gets quiet enough, you'll even hear the sounds of the traffic on the street outside. It doesn't matter what the sound is. They're all layered together. Some sounds are almost constant, like that hum of the air conditioning. Some sounds are rhythmic, like the tick of the clock. But most sounds are random. We don't know when they're going to happen. They're all layered together. And our job right now is to listen to them equally. Like we're dividing a pie into equal pieces. Each sound given exactly the same amount of attention. And we'll do this with what we hear, and we'll notice we hear more because we're doing it. But we'll add it all together. And here's the thing, the sounds change. At the beginning of our inhale, the sounds will be different than they are at the beginning of the exhale. But we'll listen to them equally. And as we continue to listen, we're also going to do this with what we feel. When we're in discomfort, that pain, that discomfort is brought to the front of our mind. We're trying to get away from it. But the thing about chronic discomfort is that we can't get away from it. And so it constantly being brought to our attention just makes it seem bigger than it is. Makes it where we can't feel anything else. Right now, as you're resting, you can feel the way your head is resting. And you can compare that to your feet. Notice also your shoulders and your hips, your arms, your legs, and your chest. Your body, all of your body weight is resting on the mat right now, but it's at different weights, different places. Some places touch heavy, other places touch lightly, and still other places gap away. They don't touch at all. But there you are, head, feet, shoulders, hips, arms, legs, and chest. And when I said mat, well, I meant the mat, but also the pillow or whatever else you're touching. They have different sensations. And you can feel the temperature of the room on your bare skin and the air currents that blow across you. You can also feel your clothes. They hold in your body heat, but they're also binding tight around the waist areas. And you can feel the fabric as it encases you across your shoulders and your collarbones, around your upper chest, down your arms, around your waist, down your legs, on your feet. And we wear more than just fabric. We might be wearing a ring or a watch or a bracelet. We may have on a necklace or earrings. We may wear glasses. There might be something on our head or binding back our hair. And all of these sensations are gradually changing because we're breathing. And when we inhale, we're drawing in the coolness through our nose. And that cool breath is traveling from our nose. It's swirling into the back of our throat. And as we draw the breath in, around the collarbone level, it starts to go into our lungs. And we pull that breath slowly in, and our lungs begin to expand. We breathe into the belly, the abdomen expands, our ribs expand, our clothes tighten up when we take a full deep breath, and then we exhale that breath slowly away. Between what we're hearing and what we're feeling and how we're breathing, we're paying attention to dozens upon dozens of different things, all different at the beginning of the inhale than they are at the beginning of the exhale. And this is when we relax completely. Our heart rate slows down. Our blood pressure lowers. Our muscles become soothed and relaxed. Even our brain waves begin to slow down, becoming smooth and rhythmic as they do when we sleep and we dream. This enhances our mind's ability to store information. We'll remember things better because we've relaxed. We'll be more clear-headed, refreshed in body and mind since we've done our relaxation. Continue to breathe deeply and stay in your relaxed position comfortably as long as you would like. When you're ready to, you'll come out of your relaxation by stretching and rolling to your side before you sit. Remember, a little bit of exercise, a little bit of relaxation every day. I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Rest well.